Imagine a place, a building unlike any other. This was the great Library of Alexandria, founded in Egypt around the 3rd century BCE. Ptolemy the Soter envisioned it, a center for all knowledge, a place where the world's wisdom could gather. It was a bold, ambitious dream. This library was more than just books, it was an idea. The library was part of a larger research institution. It was called the Museum, the Shrine of the Muses. Think of it as an ancient university. Scholars lived and worked there. They were supported by the Ptolemaic rulers. Their mission was simple yet profound: collect every scroll from every corner of the known world. They translated texts from Greek, Egyptian, Hebrew and beyond. It was a monumental undertaking, a testament to human curiosity. Estimates vary wildly. Some say 40,000 scrolls. Others suggest up to 400,000. Each scroll was a handwritten document, each one a vessel of thought, of discovery. Callimachus, a famous poet-scholar, created the Pinakes. It was one of the first library catalogues, a guide to this ocean of knowledge. The library buzzed with intellectual energy. Great minds walked its halls. The library was a crucible for genius. The destruction of the Great Library, it wasn't a single dramatic event. It was a slow, painful decline, a series of unfortunate events spanning centuries. The first major blow came in 48 BCE. Julius Caesar was in Alexandria. During a battle, his forces set fire to ships in the harbor. The flames tragically spread. They reached parts of the library. Many scrolls were lost then, but the library, or parts of it, survived. It continued to function for a while. However, Alexandria became a frequent battleground. Political instability took its toll. In the 3rd century CE, Emperor Aurelian attacked the city. The Bruchion district, where the main library was located, suffered immense damage. More knowledge vanished. Religious strife also played a devastating role. In 391 CE, Patriarch Theophilus of Alexandria ordered the destruction of pagan temples. The Serapeum, a daughter library, or an extension of the Great Library, was housed within a temple to Serapis. It too was ransacked, its scrolls likely destroyed or dispersed. The final debated chapter in its destruction often involves the Arab conquest in 642 CE. The light had truly faded. What exactly did we lose? Imagine the sheer volume of unique thought, countless original works, works by authors whose names are now mere footnotes or entirely forgotten. We have fragments of plays by the great Greek tragedians, Sophocles, Euripides, Aeschylus. They wrote hundreds, we possess only a fraction. The library held them all, complete editions. Imagine the dramatic insights, the poetry, the human stories now silent forever. This is a profound cultural loss. Then there's the scientific knowledge. Aristarchus of Samos. He proposed a heliocentric model of the solar system. 17 centuries before Copernicus, his detailed arguments lost. Perhaps they were in the library. Heron of Alexandria built working steam engines. The Eolipile. Was this just a toy? Or were there treatises on its practical applications? Imagine the mechanical knowledge, the engineering blueprints, all turned to ash or dust. We can only speculate. Think of history. Berossus, a Babylonian priest, wrote a history of Mesopotamia in Greek. Only fragments survive. The library likely held the complete version. Manetho, an Egyptian priest, chronicled the dynasties of pharaohs. His work, crucial for Egyptology, is also incomplete. Imagine the detailed maps, the geographical surveys. If the library had survived, how might science have progressed? The scientific method itself might have solidified earlier. The Greeks valued observation and logic. Think of Aristotle. But the systematic, experimental approach took centuries to mature. With a continuous tradition of scholarship housed in Alexandria, this development could have accelerated. Imagine a world where empirical testing became the norm, centuries before Galileo. This is a powerful idea. Consider the field of physics. Archimedes understood levers, buoyancy. He was on the cusp of calculus. If his complete works and those of his contemporaries were studied continuously, perhaps Newton's laws might have emerged, not in the 17th century, but much, much earlier. Imagine an ancient understanding of gravity, of motion. The implications are staggering. For technology, for our place in the cosmos, it changes everything. Biology and chemistry too would look different. Theophrastus, Aristotle's successor, was a botanist. His detailed observations were remarkable. What if a lineage of biologists continued his work, uninterrupted, in Alexandria? Perhaps the cell theory? Technology, it's applied science. With the library's knowledge intact, what marvels might have appeared sooner? Heron's aeolipile, that steam-powered sphere, it was seen as a novelty, a curiosity. But what if engineers had access to it, and to other texts on mechanics, on pneumatics, on hydraulics? Could an industrial revolution have flickered to life, not in 18th century Britain, but in the Roman Empire, or even earlier? This is a tantalizing prospect. Think about construction and engineering. The Romans were master builders, aqueducts, roads, amphitheaters. But imagine their skills augmented by the preserved wisdom of Archimedes, by lost architectural treatises, perhaps grander structures, more efficient machines for building, maybe even early forms of automation, devices to lift heavy loads, to pump water with greater power. The ancient world could have looked very different, more advanced, more dynamic. Navigation and exploration would also transform. The library held maps, astronomical charts, knowledge of winds and currents. Eratosthenes calculated Earth's size. This was crucial for long-distance travel, with better instruments, perhaps derived from advanced optics, with more accurate celestial navigation techniques. Explorers might have charted the globe centuries earlier, the age of discovery reimagined. Culture is the sum of human expression. Art, philosophy, literature, governance. If the library's treasures survived, our cultural landscape would be richer. Imagine having the complete works of every ancient philosopher, not just Plato and Aristotle, but countless others. Their debates on ethics, politics, and reality. How might that have shaped our own systems of thought, our societies, our laws? Consider the arts. We marvel at surviving Greek sculptures, Roman frescoes, but what about lost techniques? Lost masterpieces described in texts we no longer possess. The full spectrum of ancient music, its theories, its instruments, the complete plays, poems, and novels. They would offer a more nuanced understanding of past human experiences. Our Renaissance, when it came, would have drawn from a vastly larger wellspring of inspiration. Perhaps it would have started sooner, or been even more brilliant. Our understanding of history itself would be transformed. We pieced together the past from fragments, from biased accounts. The library held multiple perspectives, histories written by different cultures, in their own words. Imagine reading a Carthaginian account of the Punic Wars, or a Gallic perspective on Caesar's campaigns. This would provide a more balanced view of antiquity, less filtered through a Greco-Roman lens. Astronomy, the study of the cosmos. It holds a special place in human curiosity. The Library of Alexandria was a hub for ancient astronomers. We mentioned Aristarchus, his heliocentric model. Imagine if his work on the sizes and distances of the sun and moon survived in full, not just a summary, but his detailed calculations, his observational data. This could have shifted our cosmic perspective centuries earlier. Imagine that. Think of Hipparchus, another brilliant Alexandrian astronomer. He created an extensive star catalogue. He discovered the precession of the equinoxes. His work heavily influenced Ptolemy, but much of Hipparchus's own writings are lost. What if they were preserved? Alongside Babylonian astronomical diaries, detailed records of eclipses, comets, supernovae spanning centuries. This vast data set would have been invaluable, a treasure trove for future astronomers. With such a foundation, the development of telescopes might have accelerated. The ancients knew about lenses, about magnification. Pliny the Elder mentions burning glasses. Seneca wrote of letters viewed through a glass globe of water. If this knowledge was systematically studied and combined with advanced mathematics from the library, perhaps rudimentary telescopes could have appeared long before Galileo, revealing Jupiter's moons, Saturn's rings, the Milky Way's true nature. Medicine, the science of healing, the art of preserving life. The Library of Alexandria was also a center for medical knowledge. Herophilus and Erasistratus, two physicians who worked there. They are considered pioneers of anatomy. They performed human dissections, possibly even vivisections on criminals. Their detailed anatomical findings were revolutionary for their time. But most of their writings are lost. Imagine their recovery if their works and others like them had survived. Medical understanding would have leaped forward. The long period where human dissection was forbidden in Europe, it might have been circumvented or shortened by the authority of these respected ancient texts. A more accurate knowledge of anatomy, of physiology. This is the foundation of effective medicine. We could have had it centuries earlier. Think of the suffering avoided, the lives saved. Pharmacology too. The study of medicinal plants and substances, Dioscorides de Materia Medica, was a cornerstone for centuries, but it was just one work. The library likely held many others from different traditions, Egyptian, Greek, perhaps even Indian. A vast compendium of herbal remedies, their preparations, their effects, systematically studied and refined. This could have led to more effective treatments sooner. So, what if the Library of Alexandria had survived? The impact is almost too vast to comprehend. It's not just about a few inventions appearing earlier, or some scientific theories being proven sooner. It's about the cumulative effect, the compounding interest of knowledge, generation after generation, building on a solid, unbroken foundation. This is the true power we lost, the power of continuity. The period we call the Dark Ages in Europe, it was a time of fragmentation, of lost knowledge, of regression in many areas, with Alexandria as a continuing beacon. This era might have been significantly different, shorter, less severe, perhaps even averted in some regions. The intellectual momentum of the classical world carried forward, nurturing science, art, and philosophy through challenging times. This is a profound alteration of history, our modern world. It would be unrecognizable, in a good way. We might be centuries ahead in technology, in medicine, in our understanding of the universe, and perhaps most importantly, in our understanding of ourselves. With a richer, more complete historical record, a deeper appreciation for different cultures, we might have avoided some of the conflicts.